Tonight, another confirmed case of coronavirus in Canada, while the U.S. declares a public health emergency. We go to the country's busiest airport to find out how best to stay safe while traveling. Brexit is a done deal, sort of, the celebrations and the questions that still remain. First med school, then the Super Bowl. The Canadian doctor who's playing in the big game this weekend.
Thanks. Stay safe out there.
And warm voices during a cold crisis.
People had showed up to help her because they heard her on the radio.
How radio broadcasts became a lifeline during Newfoundland's record-breaking storm. This is The National. There is now a fourth case of coronavirus in Canada, but unlike the others, this one took 2 tests to find. It is a sign of the evolving science tracking this virus. There's an evolving response as well. In the United States, new restrictions on travelers from China, where as of today, the virus has killed 259 people. In a few minutes, we'll try to answer your questions about airport safety. But first, Vicadopia with today's new case.
The latest coronavirus patient is a student at Western University. When she returned from Wuhan last week, she avoided campus and stayed at home. According to health officials, no one else was put at risk because she did everything right.
This is somebody who actually wore the equivalent of surgical mask for her entire travel from Wuhan to London, even though she didn't have symptoms at the time.
They're so confident they're not even releasing flight information. Once she did show symptoms, she initially tested negative. A second different test of her sample days later revealed she was indeed infected.
We all have new tests that we've run it against, and it's picking it up. So this is part of the science of the way that we develop rapid tests for a response to a new pathogen that we're just learning more about.
Every Ontario sample has been retested and confirmed. The London woman arrived a day after Canada's first case, a man in his 50s with more serious symptoms. Today he was discharged from the hospital. He'll stay isolated at home as a precaution.
Those that get worse tend to get worse, after several days, and I think this particular patient, we felt comfortable that they're past that window.
In British Columbia, testing and retesting have also ramped up. Samples from more than 100 people have been through labs. Only one tested positive earlier this week. BC's top health officer says the outbreak has hit a critical phase that requires extra vigilance.
We are now at the point where people who have traveled here to BC and to Canada, who are incubating this disease, may start showing symptoms.
The woman in London, Ontario recovered quickly compared to the first Canadian case. Health officials suspect younger people are faring better in this outbreak because of their more robust immune systems. The science and understanding of this coronavirus is still evolving. Vicadopia, CBC News, Toronto.
The United States declared a public health emergency today, announcing a list of restrictions for people traveling from China. Starting Sunday, flights from that country will only go to 7 airports in the U.S. Entry will be barred to foreign nationals who have been to China in the last 14 days, unless they're immediate family members of U.S. citizens or permanent residents. And Americans coming back from Hubei province will face a mandatory 2-week quarantine. Part of the reason, say U.S. officials, is a study out of Germany that concludes someone can spread the virus before they show symptoms. Canada says it's not following suit right now.
Our position is completely in line with the World Health Organization's position, which is at this time there is no sufficient evidence to say that the virus can be spread when people are not exhibiting symptoms. Haidu stressed the risk to Canadians is very low. 3 more airlines today announced plans to suspend all flights to and from mainland China. American Airlines immediately, and Delta and United starting February 6th. But others are still flying people out, some of whom eventually land in Canadian airports. That's prompting a lot of questions from many of you about airport safety. Ellen Morrow found some answers.
All of Canada's coronavirus cases have been imported. That means an infected person traveled through an airport after having been in China. Now, one of the biggest questions we've had from viewers is about the airport screening process. Here's how it works. Passengers are asked if they've been to Hubei province, where Wuhan is located. If yes, they're referred to a border services agent who will ask them about any symptoms. If they're feeling unwell, then a public health agent will get involved. If they're fine, they're sent home. Canada Border Services told us today that there are no special screening measures for people arriving from China. The process for all international passengers is the same. Officials say the system is working. But airport screening has limitations.
There's a time that actually stretches between when a person is first infected with a virus to when they develop symptoms. Someone may go through the screening at an airport and pass with flying colors, only to then later develop symptoms.
Another big question from viewers is what, if any, special precautions should you take when coming to the airport? Some people here are wearing masks, but is that really necessary?
There's no reason for people to be wearing masks in public. Washing your hands frequently will protect you from all of these kinds of viruses. The other thing you can do is try not to touch your face.
We've had lots of questions from viewers about being on a plane, what you should do while you're on board. Officials say the biggest thing is to wash your hands frequently, and remember, this coronavirus is not easily caught. But they also warn the virus could live on surfaces in the plane, and it's unclear for how long.
If you're going into any environment where someone's coughed onto a surface, you could pick it up and you could get infected. That's why it's so important to wash your hands.
More questions will roll in as the outbreak continues, but officials say one of their biggest pieces of advice for people in airports or anywhere else is to avoid misinformation. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Mississauga.
So those were your questions. We have a couple as well for Dr. Susie Hoda. And as a starting point, let's look at the Canadian cases to this point and what they tell us. There have been 4 in total, including the one announced today, a woman in her 20s in London, Ontario, her symptoms described as mild. Add to that a man in his 40s in British Columbia, a woman in her 50s from Toronto, and her husband, also in his 50s. He was the only patient who was hospitalized for the infection. The 3 others were quarantined at home. We also know all 4 had been in Wuhan, the city at the center of this outbreak. There is no confirmed human-to-human transmission in Canada. So let's bring in Dr. Hoda again. I know this is a small sample size and it is early days, but what do these 4 cases tell you about the virus in Canada?
Well, I think the key thing is what you said right up front, that we haven't seen person-to-person transmission in Canada from these cases yet. And so that tells me that, we've identified things quickly. We've actually done what we need to do to try and contain any spread beyond the cases that came in. And so I find that very reassuring.
What a lot of people don't find reassuring is the news they hear from China of the number of deaths, the number of people who are severely ill. So they equate this virus with those kinds of outcomes. And yet here, we haven't seen people that seriously ill. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. And actually, I think that's an important point to make. Likely what's happening is there are a lot more people out there who are getting sick with what we would consider very mild symptoms, and symptoms that might not even lead them to seek medical attention. So those cases are not getting detected, and we don't know what the total number of cases are of people who have this novel coronavirus. I mean, the good news to that is that what it probably tells us is that this may not be as serious in most people who actually get infected. If we look at the proportion of people who have died from this coronavirus, and right now it's estimated at around 2%. But as the number of total cases grows, that proportion will actually decrease.
We have just seconds left, but let me note this as well. All 4 of those Canadians self-reported. That's significant, I guess. It's
very significant. We must rely on people knowing what to do, and these individuals have acted very responsibly. And so that's helped us to actually manage the situation and control the virus here in Canada.
Dr. Hoda, really nice speaking with you.
You're welcome.
To the U.S. now. Throughout Donald Trump's impeachment trial, his acquittal has been widely expected. But as bombshell after bombshell hit the news, suspense grew over how much new evidence the Republican-led Senate would consider. Well, tonight we know the answer. None. As Katie Simpson explains, in Trump's trial, this is a turning point.
President Donald Trump headed off for a weekend at his Mar-a-Lago resort with a significant weight off his shoulders.
Mr. Alexander.
His Republican allies shored up enough support to block new witnesses from appearing at his impeachment trial.
No. The motion is not agreed to.
By a vote of 51 to 49, senators rejected the proposal. Democrats were only able to convince 2 Republicans, Mitt Romney and Susan Collins, to vote in favor of more testimony.
America will remember this day, unfortunately, where the Senate did not live up to its responsibilities, where the Senate turned away from truth and went along with a sham trial.
We are going to call every witness.
Democrats spent nearly 2 hours arguing why they say additional witnesses are essential, fueled by a second report in the New York Times based on another excerpt from former National Security Advisor John Bolton's upcoming memoir that says he was ordered by Donald Trump to help with the Ukraine campaign last May, earlier than previously known, and that the order was given in front of senior staff, including Pat Cipollone, Trump's lead impeachment lawyer.
Now, as you might imagine, the president denies this. Let's find out. Let's put John Bolton under oath.
Much to the delight of Trump's legal team, the fresh revelations swayed no one, setting a sure course for acquittal.
You've heard from a lot of witnesses. The problem with their case, the problem with their position is, even with all of those witnesses, it doesn't prove up an impeachable offense. The articles fail.
So, Katie, where does that leave the trial now? What happens next?
Well, senators will get a breather over the weekend. They'll return Monday for closing arguments, and then each senator will have an opportunity to publicly explain their vote. Now, that final vote on the president's fate is scheduled for Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it is widely expected Donald Trump will be acquitted. But the timing of all of this is not exactly what the White House had hoped for. Trump wanted this to be wrapped up before the State of the Union on Tuesday so that impeachment wouldn't be hanging over him during his speech to the country. Ian.
Thanks, Katie. The State of the Union, just part of the reason that politics in the United States is set to heat up even more next week. We will have special coverage starting Sunday on the eve of the Iowa caucuses, when Democratic presidential hopefuls present themselves to voters and the race for the White House begins in earnest. Then on Tuesday, we'll be watching as Donald Trump delivers the annual State of the Union before the same Congress that has put him on trial. Let's move to politics overseas now. 3.5 agonizing years after Britain narrowly voted to leave the European Union, tonight it happened. Brexit.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And just like that, a 47-year partnership came to an end. So a party in the streets, but the flip side, angry protests and anxiety about the future. As the CBC's Margaret Evans tells us, whatever side people are on, there's no doubt this was an emotional day.
It was a day of flags. In Brussels, pro-Brexit members of the European Parliament had themselves piped out of their offices in triumphant farewell. And EU officials quietly folded up the Union Jack that once stood in the midst of a family of 28. Across the Channel in London, the Brexit clock began counting down in earnest as Britain's Prime Minister tried to speak to both sides of a divided nation.
My job is to bring this country together now and take us forward. The most important thing to say tonight is that this is not an end, but a beginning.
Those who have longed for the moment weren't afraid to embrace it.
This is a moment of profound history, being greeted here with celebration, but elsewhere with deep regret.
And in some cases, with an ugliness. Earlier, pro-Brexit hardliners burned the European Union flag. Not everyone, though, is bent on pouring salt in the wounds of those who would stay.
I'm happy, but not in a rub it in the Remainers' face type way.
It's not that we hate Europe, but why should we be ruled by people who don't necessarily know what we want?
For others, there is loss. Fear Britain will lose what the EU gave it.
A common respect for each other's differences and each other's cultures. And I really, really, really hope that we don't lose any of that.
And leaving might not be the hardest part.
The difficult bit's what's coming next, which is how do we then establish the trade relations both with the EU and the rest of the world.
There are some refusing to give up on the relationship that formally came to an end tonight. Messages from World War II veterans projected onto the white cliffs of Dover alongside the European Union flag. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
And today, Scottish nationalists vowed to fight for another referendum to leave Britain. But that's not the only big question remaining. Trade could get complicated between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, because one is part of the UK, the other still in the EU. Renee Filipponi went to a border town in Northern Ireland to hear one community's concerns.
Somewhere out there in the middle of the Irish Sea is the new post-Brexit border. And somehow, ports in Northern Ireland and Great Britain will become checkpoints. The EU wants to retain control of what arrives at ports here and can make its way south into the Republic of Ireland. But the delicate details haven't been worked out, which means those who live and work here are still baffled.
It's going to be a big burden in administration. You know, people are maybe going to have to take on extra staff that they can't afford because there's going to be extra documentation to be done.
In border towns like Newry that rely on trade, any extra work could make businesses more complicated and costly. Paul Vallely exports rugs around the world and has many buyers in Europe. Any loss of business would lead to layoffs.
That would be a bitter disappointment because we are genuinely a family-run business and we treat everyone here like family.
Business leaders here are begging politicians to remember them when it comes time to negotiate.
We're a small part of a small island, on the edge of an island, on the edge of Europe. So we're very peripheral, and everything we do, we need to do well to try and prosper.
A highly problematic land border here has been ruled out, but truckers whose livelihoods rely on moving goods back and forth between the UK and the EU worry any new system will mean delays and doubt politicians will find a quick solution.
They'll put the spanner in the works, but it's not them that's out on the road doing this job. They go back to their office and they start complicating some other thing now.
Pulling out of the EU is a hard reality for many who voted to stay. But Brexit is here. There's no turning back. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Newry, Northern Ireland.
Let's move to a story of importance to thousands of families here in Canada. A move in Manitoba today aimed at keeping more families together. The province is ending a controversial practice that led to thousands of kids being taken from their parents soon after birth. Karen Pauls shows us what it means.
It's excruciating to watch. A mother sobbing as police officers apprehend her newborn baby girl in hospital, live streamed on Facebook 1 year ago by family members. Apprehensions like this happen almost every day in Manitoba, often following something called a birth alert, a notice placed on the mom's medical chart to protect babies considered at risk.
They were originally put in place to increase the safety of children. We found no evidence that was taking place.
About 11,000 children are in care in Manitoba. An estimated 90% of them are Indigenous. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls recommended doing away with birth alerts. First Nations leaders have also been demanding it for years.
We have grandmothers and aunties that are willing to step in, but that has not been allowed. But now I think with the end of these birth alerts, I think the community and the families can stand a better chance of keeping the child in their family.
I'm hopeful that it's not going to be just replaced with another way to flag concerns with a mother.
2 months after this video went viral, child welfare authorities transferred custody of the baby girl to her great aunt, exactly what her mother had planned from the beginning.
That's just inhumane to do that to her, to do that to myself, to do that to my family. With these birth alerts ending, that's a positive step, but I just really hope there's no tricks up their sleeves.
She hopes her experience means no more moms will have to go through the pain she went through. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Today in a New York court, shocking testimony from a Harvey Weinstein accuser. Next on The National, we're inside the courtroom.
He was able to go through med school. He's able to perform at the highest level of sports.
Next on The National, the Canadian doctor making his Super Bowl debut on the field. And pushing back against discrimination, one free burger at a time.
People are still good inside.
Battling myths and racism spawned by the coronavirus outbreak. We're back into it. Welcome back. Stunning testimony today by one of Harvey Weinstein's accusers. She told jurors in his rape trial graphic details about an intimate relationship that she says turned manipulative and degrading. Stephen D'Souza was in court to hear it all.
Of the dozens of women who've accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual assault, Jessica Mann is perhaps the least known. Her name only became public during this trial. She testified she felt blessed the mogul took an interest in her when she moved to Hollywood, but said Weinstein was a Jekyll and Hyde figure, both charming and demanding. She testified through tears that Weinstein raped her twice, the first time in a New York hotel room in 2013. She alleges he commanded her to undress like a drill sergeant, sharp and angry. She is one of 4 women to testify this week about alleged attacks at the hands of Weinstein.
I think it's getting better.
Over the last few days, though, Weinstein has seemed more and more upbeat.
How'd it go today?
Oh my God, great.
Today, though, the courtroom was stunned as Mann described Weinstein's anatomy. She testified she thought he was intersex, that he didn't have testicles, and it appears he has a vagina. Upon hearing that, Weinstein threw his hands up in the air, allowing them to fall to the table in frustration. Mann's testimony is both consequential and complicated. She was in some sort of relationship with Weinstein, saying she felt compassion for him and wanted his approval, but also felt degraded and used. The defense said everything was consensual, pointing out she had numerous other sexual encounters with Weinstein, that she was using him to advance her acting career, often sending him emails. Mann told the court she never meant what she wrote, saying nice things only because she was afraid of the producer. After court today, Weinstein sarcastically laughed off any questions about his anatomy.
Mr. Weinstein, is just from the description of your body accurate?
Jessica Mann's testimony isn't over yet. The defense will continue to press her on the nature of her relationship with Weinstein when cross-examination continues next week. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
Now to some other stories making headlines across the country tonight. A late development in Toronto, a shooting around 10:20 Eastern in the Fort York neighborhood, just west of downtown. The first reports from the Toronto Police Service are that 4 people were shot with serious injuries. A truck driver involved in a crash that police described as shocking and wild has now been charged. It happened earlier this month on a stretch of the 401 in Toronto. That dashcam video showing the truck pushing a sedan sideways onto the shoulder. Ontario police say the 51-year-old truck driver is now facing 1 count of careless driving. He says he didn't see the sedan while he was changing lanes. When we come back, the star power behind the Super Bowl halftime show.
It's packed with a lot of awesome moments.
How the NFL is setting the stage for its new image. And later, staying connected during a state of emergency. Why Newfoundlanders turn to their radios for comfort.
We are in this year's Tide Super Bowl commercial.
The Super Bowl is almost upon us when 100 million plus viewers feast on $500 million worth of ads, vying to get brands into brains.
Get him!
Grandpa, what's going on?
Pringles! We're trapped in a Pringles commercial. They must have taken us in our sleep.
How can we get out?
We can't, Summer. They warned me this would happen and I didn't listen.
Here's Mountain Dew Zero.
I am thirsty.
But there is, of course, also football. As Sarah Levitt tells us, this Sunday is special to Kansas City fans for lots of reasons. Their team hasn't made it this far in 50 years, and there's going to be a Canadian on the gridiron, unlike any player in Super Bowl history.
By all appearances, he's your typical NFL offensive guard. Big and strong.
But for number 76, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, brawn comes with a big brain. In between practices and games, the Quebecer managed to become a doctor. Sunday, another milestone. He'll be the first doctor to play in a Super Bowl. With that distinction comes media attention and unexpected questions at football press conferences.
What's your take on coronavirus?
Are we really going to talk about that?
It's probably one of the most interesting person I know.
Charles-Alexandre Lacroix will be watching from the stands in Miami on Sunday.
Salut.
He met Duvernay-Tardif in med school and even brought him in for a shift in the ER.
He was able to go through med school. He's able to perform at the highest level of sports, and yet he's very down to earth.
In between football and medicine, Duvernay-Tardif also finds time for his foundation, encouraging kids to play sports. He did a stint as a sports reporter, and he can bake. Duvernay-Tardif spent his teens working in bakeries owned by his parents. For the team here, his accomplishments are a source of pride.
He's doing great at the sport that he loves, and he's doing great in his career. So, I mean, who else can do say oh, hi, I'm a doctor from McGill and I'm playing the Super Bowl.
But the league faces concerns about concussions and evidence the sport could lead to brain degeneration. How does a doctor square playing football with that?
At the end of the day, you got to look at the big picture, and people who do team sport, people who are active, people who play football are usually, I think, better leader, better human, that are more balanced.
His next goal, bringing home that Super Bowl ring. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.
Another first at the Super Bowl, Katie Sowers will be the first woman to coach a team in the game.
I know that other women, other young girls are watching this, and maybe their path seems a little clearer now.
The 49ers offensive assistant will also be the first openly gay coach for a Super Bowl team. She calls it all surreal and also a step forward towards her next goal of becoming an NFL head coach. The Super Bowl has always been about more than taking home that ring. Controversy surrounded last year's halftime show as artists showed support for Colin Kaepernick, that player whose NFL career ended after demonstrating against racial injustice. Zuleka Nathu shows us how this year the NFL has managed to keep its halftime show from becoming a political football.
Ready?
Shakira and Jennifer Lopez are hoping to keep football viewers tuned in with their halftime performance in Miami. It's the first time two Latinas will take the high-profile stage.
It's packed with a lot of awesome moments.
First day of rehearsals. As they tease their rehearsals on social media, the reaction is far from the controversy of 2019. Last year, both superstar Rihanna and rapper Cardi B said they wouldn't perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, citing Colin Kaepernick as the reason.
They did some stretching.
The football quarterback hasn't played for 3 seasons after taking a knee during the U.S. national anthem. He was protesting racial inequality in the U.S. and police shootings against unarmed African Americans. Maroon 5 faced a lot of heat for taking the halftime gig. The rock band got less than stellar reviews afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you.
So when the NFL recently partnered with Jay-Z's entertainment agency Rock Nation, some called the rap artist a sellout.
Go.
But these high school football players say the NFL is taking steps in the right direction.
They're trying, at least put some effort into it, which they are doing, which a lot of people are I know I like it.
Thank you. Rock Nation is now giving direction on the Football League's halftime show, including its selection of Lopez and Shakira.
There's no doubt that the NFL is using some very smart diversity moves.
Ronaldo Walcott specializes in black pop culture and politics at the University of Toronto.
It's really about bridging that gap with the law enforcement.
In addition to the halftime artists, Walcott says the NFL's nonprofit Inspire Change program is also trying to win over communities who might have felt slighted in the past.
Corey broke down on the side of the road, and a plainclothes police officer pulled up.
This year, the campaign is focusing on police shootings and racial inequality.
All you hear from there is 3 shots.
The same issues that propelled Kaepernick to take a knee.
I think that they have to find a way to bring him back if any of these moves, like Inspire Change, is going to have any real credibility, especially among black communities.
While J-Lo and Shakira prepare for the big event, the NFL will use Super Bowl Sunday to further showcase its new image. A version of their Inspire Change campaign video will air on TV before the Kansas City Chiefs take on the San Francisco 49ers, Kaepernick's old team. Zuleika Nathu, CBC News, Los Angeles.
After the break, how radio brought a community together during a record storm.
People are calling in and sharing some incredible stories of human connection.
The messages of hope and humanity on both ends of the line from Newfoundland. Plus, why the Canadian Navy is relying mostly on reservists for its latest mission at sea. Two weeks ago tonight, St. John's and eastern Newfoundland were being buried under a record-breaking 70 centimeters of snow. Today, the province announced those whose property was damaged can apply for compensation. It's offering to pay for things not normally covered by insurance. Certainly a day Newfoundlanders won't soon forget. Those pictures of snowbanks taller than homes and the stories of a community that came together in a crisis captivated the country. Well, tonight, Adrian goes back to the moment the storm hit, a chance to listen to a lifeline. The radio shows the connected voices through the storm and kept a province company.
The snow came right on schedule. No hype or exaggeration. It was as bad as predicted.
Bundle up in blankets because it's not safe to be out.
All right, thanks. Stay safe out there.
Another certainty that they would be busy. Because no matter technology's march of time, in crises,
we declared a state of emergency at 4:30 today.
Old school radio programs are the warm hearths to gather around.
We want to know, what are you going through?
Kind voices cutting through the roar of that wind. And Newfoundlanders had no idea how vital those voices would prove to be. This is Chrissy Holmes of the St. John's Morning Show.
When they start talking 70 centimeters of snow, but the fallout, things started to get interesting because people really didn't know what a state of emergency was going to mean. Nobody was prepared for this.
By that Friday afternoon, as the snow descended and the sky darkened, those forced to retreat indoors reached out. People rarely surprised by the weather, somehow struck by the novelty of this storm and wanting to share.
I'm making haggis.
And do you do this often on storm days?
I kind of want to build a fort.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very quickly, it became clear that reaching out wasn't just about sharing an experience, but asking for help.
I just want to thank all of you working today for this terrific broadcast.
That's a woman named Kathy, calling into CBC St. John's Friday afternoon. She has mobility issues and was getting worried, especially because she was alone.
I'm sitting here alone in the dark, not because we've had a power outage. All the large windows I have are covered, smothered with snow. But it's weird in the middle of the day to be sitting in the dark.
Oh my goodness.
And it's kind of lonely.
The idea of being almost entombed by the snow made for an isolation not everyone was ready for.
There are waves coming over the seawall and hitting the third floor of my home.
It looks like something out of Hollywood special effects.
110 kilometers an hour, those winds, and it was around supper time that the power started going for thousands in the Avalon Peninsula.
We've heard from here. I want to hear from you. What's this?
Ted Blades in St. John's was shepherding the afternoon coverage.
Two of our colleagues left here trying to go 2 blocks to the hotel where we had places to sleep for the night. They left on snowshoes with full suits on, and they didn't get to the end of the parking lot. They turned around and came back and said the winds were just too strong. 15 of us ended up sleeping on the floor here in the station because we simply couldn't leave.
Then it got worse. CBC Newfoundland lost power too. That lifeline suddenly needed one.
20,000 customers were without power in our last check. St. John's, Mount Pearl, North, there are about 10,000 customers without power.
So the Nova Scotia Bureau stepped in, fielding the Newfoundland calls that kept coming deep into the night and through the weekend.
I'm in an area called Monday Pond, which seems to be the epicenter of this whole storm because it's been savage here. It's just been nasty, and you know, with flashes of light, which I guess are generators blowing up. You like to actually see lightning.
Listening behind the mic, Jeff Douglas in Halifax.
I'm somebody with an anxiety disorder, so I have panic attacks. But I live in, the Jelly Bean Row, so I have neighbors. We're glued together. And she said, if by chance we lose phone service, she said, just pound on our wall.
Yes. Well, it's good to have someone so close.
It's pretty scary, too, I have to say.
Listen, Deborah, knock on your neighbor's wall if you start to get anxious. And if everything else fails, call us back here, all right?
Yeah.
Information is treasured currency in a crisis. Trading it matters. Easier said than done in a store.
Oh, yeah, the house is covered over on us.
Oh, good Lord. Wow. And as to be honest with you, we're really grateful to you for calling because we're having a hard time getting through to people.
We have to do that, boy, to keep things going at a time like this. It's a 2020 storm, and they're going to come around. Oh, Mother Nature, you're not fucking her. She's going to do her thing.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't mess around. Gus, thanks so much for calling. Be well.
10-4, boy.
You've seen what happened over the next 72 hours when the snow gave up and the sun came out.
We got to thank the city workers. They're out working their butts off. It's a massive undertaking.
People are worn down, right? They're hurting physically.
I want to ask the community to, check on your neighbor, certainly seniors, make sure that they have what they need.
Newfoundlanders emerged from those snow caves and got to work lifting each other. But without power, without work, sometimes without company, it still wasn't easy. Ted Blades, back on the air in Newfoundland now, reconnected with Kathy, the woman with mobility issues who'd called days earlier and was nervous in her darkened house.
We put out the call to have her neighbors come and try and see if she was all right. People had showed up to help her because they heard her on the radio.
Her relief, and then eventually a province's relief. The snow safely shoved out of harm's way meant the calls changed. But they kept coming. Steady streams of thank yous.
And also people are calling in and sharing some incredible stories of human connection.
My children have been shoveling forever.
In the midst of adversity, you can find things to be grateful for.
The feeling that you must have had to see that help had arrived.
I couldn't believe it. Tears in my eyes, of course. I couldn't help it. It was just incredible.
Thank you to all the strangers who stepped up.
Sorry, I'm verklempt right now.
Yeah.
And thanks for the intimacy of radio. That friend that weathers the storm.
January 2020, the golden age of radio, still ahead on The National. We go inside Canada's reserve forces on deployment and ask what motivates them to serve part-time. Back right after this. Welcome back. The training and discipline of the Canadian Forces to take up arms to serve the country is often described as a calling. So it might surprise you to know a whole quarter of Canada's men and women in uniform do it part-time. David Common was in Halifax before HMCS Glace Bay deployed for West Africa this week to learn what drives Canada's reserves.
HMCS Glace Bay, one of Canada's smaller warships, is on its way to Africa. And to muster this crew of 44, the Navy is relying heavily on reservists, part-timers, many of them. 1 in 3 of those on board. And among them, Ashton Bartlett, sailor, ship protector, and rescue swimmer. Not bad for someone who doesn't see the Navy as a career.
Lift it up a little bit. So I've been on Glace Bay for 1.5 years now. I love it. About to go to Africa. So when we come back, I'm hoping, I was looking into becoming a firefighter.
In other words, going back to civilian life. No long-term commitment is a big draw to the reserves.
Hold the feet tray. Open the feet tray. Clear! Clear!
Though the Navy has come to rely on those with non-military careers to help staff its missions.
Open the feet tray cover. Clear! Clear! And I do like the reservist lifestyle. So if you do want to have a civilian job, you can go pursue that. Or if you want to do this full time, you can do that as well. So I do like the flexibility that they provide for us.
Flexibility is key to the appeal for reservists. They only commit to 1 night of service a week, 1 weekend a month, but have the option of going full time. Reservists were used in Canada's fight in Afghanistan and extensively at home during last year's flooding and this year's big dig out in Newfoundland.
5-round group, target to your front, on your own time, go on!
Nearly everyone on this rifle range in Aldershot, Nova Scotia is a reservist, some with a full-time contract, but most here is a side gig.
This relay, adopt the sitting position.
With Canada's economy strong, jobs aren't as hard to come by. So recruiting for the regular force, with its long-term expectations, has been challenging. When it comes to military missions, reservists are being called upon. Ian LeBlanc is a teacher.
What does being in the reserves offer you that the reg force might not?
Just a chance to get training into discipline, but also be able to go back and pursue other interests, another career that you can enjoy.
Michael Murphy works in security most of the time and is hoping to become a police officer. If that doesn't happen easily, he might go full-time with the military.
Different experiences from different people. I have sergeants who work as engineers on the side or also law enforcement, so they bring that knowledge into our training as well. So we get not only the military experience, but also their experience from their civilian careers.
Back on HMCS Glace Bay, Danae Ellen Buckmeyer, who cooks for the 44 sailors on board, may be on her first ever deployment, but she's used to a moving kitchen from her regular job.
Back home, I have my own food truck. It's an Asian, Caribbean, fusion taco truck back in Toronto, so I just do that.
When this deployment is all over, she'll head back to the truck. In the meantime, she's heading to warmer waters.
It's flexibility to go to school and have a job and travel the world at the same time, kind of bad.
It's a force Canada's military relies on, sometimes heavily. Some of its ships, nearly one half made up of part-time military. Facing competition recruiting full-time regulars, the reservists are finding lots of demand. David Common, CBC News, Halifax.
We're watching several developing international stories tonight, including the wildfires in Australia.
This fire may become very unpredictable. It may become uncontrollable.
Officials there today declared a state of emergency for the country's capital and surrounding area. Over the next few days, wind and extreme heat, along with the already dry conditions, will put the suburbs around Canberra at risk.
There's something peaceful about being here with everybody.
This was seen outside Staples Center in Los Angeles today as the LA Lakers prepared for their first game since the death of Kobe Bryant. Fans left more balloons, flowers, and messages at the growing memorial, while a nearby car dealership paid tribute in their own unique way. Inside the arena, Bryant T-shirts were draped over every seat. Nike's Vaporfly running shoes will be allowed at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Earlier this week, we told you about calls for a ban because some say they take pressure off the foot and make for a faster run. The governing body of track and field is putting other rules in place. The shoes have to be available to consumers for at least 4 months before they can be worn in competition. And the characteristic thick soles will be regulated. Shoes with soles thicker than 40 millimeters or with more than one rigid embedded plate or blade will be banned. When we come back, a good deal in exchange for a good deed. A Toronto business owner's effort to combat racism. It's in our moment, and that's next. These two Toronto businesses aren't far from one another, just a few blocks away on the same street. And today they came together in a meaningful way. The owner of the flower shop says he's experienced discrimination related to the coronavirus outbreak. That's when his fellow business owner leapt into action, offering free burgers to anyone who comes in with a receipt for flowers. Their bond forged in community and business is our moment.
Well, I'd heard about the Chinese community facing discrimination because of the coronavirus. I saw that Andy, he was facing discrimination. I thought, must be something I can do to help out. So came up with the idea of anybody that goes into Andy's store and buys even a petunia and comes in with a receipt on Sunday, we will give them a free burger. Just overwhelmed at the response. I tell them to order more flowers.
My wife brought to my attention that, hey, did you know Fearless Meat posted something about what happened to you and he's supporting you. And it's really made me feel that people are still good inside. Got my staff to be working overtime on Sunday, and I hope Andy sells out of flowers.
And extra burgers are on hand. This is a story about so many things, not only being fearless in the face of you know, that kind of anxiety that some people are feeling because of the coronavirus outbreak, although not really an outbreak in Canada yet, but also just about communities and businesses and neighborhoods coming together. And Eliza, our producer, while she was there doing those interviews, a woman came in from the flower shop, left her receipt, didn't want a burger, just said, hey, you know what? Leave this receipt here. If somebody walks in on Sunday and wants a burger, they can use my receipt to redeem it. And so the good gets passed on again and again. What a nice way to end the week. That is The National for this January the 31st. Good night.